In the 2000s, Disney feature animation had been declining in popularity and success. In an attempt to return to the good old days, it was decided that a nostalgic return to a traditional hand-drawn animated fairy tale would bring the studio back to its feet. Disney released The Princess and the Frog in 2009, the first hand-drawn animated film in 5 years. The story was set in 1920s New Orleans, the first time they had taken a fairy tale princess out of the time period in which the original story was set. The original story, known as both The Frog Prince and The Frog King, dates back to 13th century Germany in a Latin version of the tale. In 1549, it appeared in Scotland as a story titled The Well of the World's End. Tales of enchanted frogs appear in many cultures, including China, Sri Lanka, and Korea, but this particular tale has versions in numerous European countries. It is believed, however, that the tale gained such great popularity because it is traditionally the first tale presented in the Brothers Grimm collection, which is the best known version we know today. A princess reluctantly befriends a frog who demands she keeps the promises she made to him. At the end of the tale, he magically transforms into a handsome prince. The greatest difference between the tale we are familiar with today and the tale originally penned by the Grimm brothers is the ending. The original breaking of the enchantment had the princess becoming so disgusted with the frog that she hurled him against a wall. In later versions, the frog needed only to spend 3 consecutive nights on the princess's pillow, and this was eventually changed to the princess bestowing a kiss upon the frog. Frogs symbolize new life in many cultures and often appear helpful or kind in folklore. However, frogs also have connections with witchcraft and are despised by some religious groups for that reason. The prince is a somewhat puzzling figure. There is no version of the story that explains why the witch cast a spell over him to turn him into a frog. Maybe he was being punished for some misdeed, or he could have been an innocent victim. In the end, we have the moral that one should always keep a promise. The princess is rewarded by the frog transforming into a prince whom she marries. One has to wonder whether she deserves such a reward after the way she treated the frog, but of course, they live happily ever after. Disney's Princess and the Frog is loosely based on The Frog Princess, a children's novel by E.D. Baker, first published in 2002, which is also loosely based on The Frog Prince. In this story, a princess called Esmeralda, or Emma, kisses the frog and is transformed into one herself. Disney had once announced that 2004's Home on the Range would be their last traditionally animated film. After the company's acquisition of Pixar in 2006, Ed Catmull and John Lasseter, the new president and chief creative officer of Disney Animation Studios, reversed this decision and reinstated hand-drawn animation at the studio. Many animators who had either been laid off or had left the studio were rehired for the project. Lasseter also brought back directors Ron Clements and John Musker, whose earlier works include The Little Mermaid and Aladdin. The duo had left the company in 2005, but Lasseter requested their return to Disney to direct and write the film, and had let them choose the style of animation they wanted to use. Musker and Clements thought that given all fairy tales were set in Europe, they could do an American fairy tale. They stated that they chose New Orleans as a tribute to the history of the city for its magical qualities, and because it was Lasseter's favourite city. The directors spent 10 days in Louisiana before starting to write the film. The Princess and the Frog was originally announced as The Frog Princess in July 2006. These announcements drew criticism from African American media outlets due to elements of the Frog Princess story, characters and settings considered distasteful. African American critics disapproved of the original name for the heroine, Maddie, due to its similarity to the derogatory term Mammy. The Frog Princess title was also thought by critics to be a slur on French people. In response to these early criticisms, the film's title was changed in May 2007. Talk show host Oprah Winfrey was hired as a technical consultant for the film, leading to her taking a voice acting role in the film as Tiana's mother, Eudora. This reworking of the story itself was greatly inspired by the life story of New Orleans chef Leah Chase. First, she was a waitress who then opened up a restaurant with her husband. She in turn would contribute to the Tiana's cookbook that was published when the film came out. Disney's Bambi served as a template for the bio scenes. Choreographer Betsy Beatos was brought by the directors to lead a team of eccentric dancers that gave reference to make each character a different style of movement. The character design tried to create beautiful drawings through subtle shapes, particularly for most characters being human. The computer animation production system that Disney developed with Pixar in the 1980s for use on their previous animated films had become outdated. The character animators decided to use traditional paper and pencil drawings, which were then scanned into the computer systems. The one exception was the Almost There dream sequence, which utilised an Art Deco graphic style based on the art of Harlem Renaissance painter Aaron Douglas. Originally, Alan Menken was considered to be in charge of the soundtrack. However, Lasseter thought that since Menken scored the Disney film Enchanted, Randy Newman was hired. Newman is a jazz composer and grew up in New Orleans, making him compatible with the project. Before playing Laurel Mayer Robinson in Dreamgirls, Anika Noni Rose starred in several stage productions, including the 2004 Broadway musical Caroline or Change, which she won a Tony Award for Best Featured Actress in a Musical that same year. Beyoncé was the casting director's first choice for the role of Tiana, but she lost out as she refused to audition, thinking she would be offered the part instead. Rose's performance influenced much of the animation, with the actress even suggesting to Mark Henn for Tiana to be left-handed like herself. Rose described the recording process as very solitary work that required her to do much research. To prepare herself for the role, Rose called people in New Orleans, listened to their voices to hear what they sounded like, did a lot of reading up on the city, and listened to a lot of music in the jazz era. At her first session, Rose recorded all her dialogue from top to bottom in a session that lasted 8 hours. The film premiered in theatres with a limited run on November 25, 2009, followed by a wide release on December 11th, ranking at number 1 for the weekend. Saint Brian of the NBC TV Seattle praised the film and called it the best Disney movie since The Lion King. Tiana is a 19-year-old African-American woman living in 1920s New Orleans, Louisiana. As her mother was a seamstress, it's likely that she made most, if not all, of Tiana's clothes for her. Throughout the movie, Tiana undergoes various outfit changes. When working her day job at Duke's Diner, Tiana wears a yellow dress over a white shirt, a white apron, and brown shoes. She also owns a dark green coat with a matching hat. Tiana would have worn stockings with this outfit. The hosiery would have been purchased from a department store or mail order from a catalogue, which revolutionised the way women shopped. Women for the first time had access to a variety of products which were delivered to their home. Tiana's dress comes in at the natural waistline. In the 1920s, this was not fashionable. It would have had a drop effect. The fashionable silhouette was straight as possible, like a column. Tiana's shoes would have been supported by a strap or an Oxford shoe that encases the foot. Aprons at the time would have resembled pinafores. Her hair is in a ponytail, which would have been a bit long for the period. Most women cut their hair quite short. This hat is called a cloche. The hats became smaller and closer to the head to match the cropped hairstyles. Her coat is pretty accurate. This one is called a duster. Due to the rise of transit, the coat protected clothes from dust while commuting on the trolley. Her first wedding dress is pure fantasy and has no connection to the 1920s. Only her evening gloves are accurate, extending above the elbow, called opera length, and would have been made of satin. Her jewellery could have been made up of lavalier necklace, such as a long chain with a fabulous pendant at the end. Earrings were long to accentuate the hairstyle. Tiaras resembled headbands and were worn low over the forehead. Tiana's second wedding outfit was a beige dress that reveals her back, with a matching Juliet cap and transparent gloves as well as a green tiara. As this was a royal wedding, let's look at a famous example from the 1920s. Lady Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon became an instant bridal icon when she married the Duke of York in 1923. Her gown was considered a trend-setting piece of fashion, with its dropped waist, pearl and silver embellishments, and very 1920s headpiece. At the end of the movie, Tiana's palace has a band called Firefly 5 plus Lou. This is a play on the jazz band Firehouse 5 plus 2, which had Frank Thomas and Ward Kimball, two of Walt Disney's 9 older men. Tiana is the only Disney princess with an actual job and makes money. What's more, the fact that she doesn't trust banks and keeps her money in jars seems ironic considering the Great Depression occurred only a few years later. Tiana is a meetable character at the Disney parks, dressed in her lily pad gown from the movie. She made her debut in the temporary 2009 boat show Tiana Showboat Jubilee in promotion for the film. At Disney's Port Orleans Resort, Tiana is the central character because of its ties to New Orleans between her film and the resort. Tiana also has a restaurant named in her honor aboard the Disney Wonder. When she makes appearances, she dons her outfit featured in Almost There and engages in meet and greets with guests. In conclusion, Tiana is a trailblazer for the Disney princess lineup. She was the first African American princess with a headstrong attitude, believing in her dreams, and she learns that success to a happy life is to believe in yourself, work hard for what you want to achieve, and make time for the ones that you love. Next time, we will be learning all about the first Disney princess to make her debut as a computer-generated character, Rapunzel from Disney's Tangled. Is Tiana your favourite Disney princess? Is there anything new that you learned about her film? Please like, comment and subscribe for more Disney-related videos. Thank you for watching.